So we've received all this information in our form survey, but how do we actually go through it and get the important information? So what we want to have is an Excel or Google Docs spreadsheet, and we're going to look through and compare the different groups. Now we've got our target market. I've got it in the first two columns to help me. So for this example, I've got a survey based on sunglasses. I've asked high school students from 8 to 12, and I want to check the information to see what's going on. The most useful formula we can use is the average. Now, if you go up into the top corner, you can see a little E or sigma up there. Click on it, click on the arrow, choose average. It will automatically highlight all the numbers above it. If it doesn't, select what you want it to do. Make sure you don't include the column header. So the grade, it selects it, calculates the average. Now, how can we use this? We are going to use something called filter. Go up into the top, look for a data in the menu. Click on it. When you click on it, you should see little arrows on the top of each column. So let's start with question number 3. How likely are people to buy sunglasses? If I click on this, I can look at different groups. I want to know the most likely customers. Now you can see my average is still there. It's still 9.8. It is the average of all the respondents, even if we can't see them. Now the nice thing about Excel, if I highlight these and then look down at the bottom, I can actually see the average for these ones. What you'll see is the average for these highlighted cells is 10.5. Quite a big difference between the 9.8 for the entire survey. What that tells us is the older you are, the higher the grade, the more likely you are to buy. So you can choose different groups depending on what you want to look at. So I'm going to get rid of this filter. I'm going to click on that arrow that I chose, select all, press OK. And I'm going to put something in the top corner to show you how to do this in Google Sheets if you're using that. The next thing I want to look at is maybe look at gender. I'm going to choose males. Now to help me, I'm going to do an average for how likely are you to buy. So I'm going to go back to home. I'm going to click on the sigma or the E for formulas and choose average. Now be careful, this 3 at the top is not an answer. It is the column header, question number 3. So an average of 3.1, you can reduce the decimal if that makes it easier. So what we're going to do is look at males, females, look at different grades. Click on the arrow, and I'm going to unselect the females. And what I get is the average for the whole group. The average for males is 3.33. The average for the whole group is 3.1. So we can assume that females are even lower than 3.1. So males are more likely to buy sunglasses than females. We're going to write down these little notes. Every time we come across something interesting, we're going to make a note of it. When we write a report, we're going to use all these notes to put things together. Now, to double check, we can go through. I'm going to switch to females just to check the number. Highlight the spaces, and I get average 2.8. So I'm going to unselect females, and I'm going to keep going through. I can do by grade. Grade 8s. So grade 8s have an average of 2 compared to an overall average of 3.1. They're less likely to buy, which we kind of saw earlier on. So write down notes as you go. We can do this for each question. How often do we wear sunglasses? Checking males, do the average. And for this particular question, males are very close to the overall average. So we could actually write down that gender does not play a role in how often people wear. Males are wearing them slightly less, but again, it's a very little difference between the males and females. We can look at grades now. So I'm going to look at 8s and 9s at the same time. And I find their average is 2.6. This is a big difference. We want to make a note of it. Younger grades wear them less often. Older grades are more likely to buy them. Older grades are more likely to wear them. We're starting to get a good idea of who we need to target for our target market. Now, it's a little harder when it's just a word or a description. Here we have a question that asks the respondents what color of sunglasses would they buy. It's a little harder to go through, but if we take a certain gender, we can look at the gender and find that it's pretty evenly split. If we look at the grades, quite a few older grades, just 1 or 2 in grade 8 or 9. If I look at white, there's a noticeable pattern here. 3 females, 1 male. So white sunglasses, according to the survey, is more popular with women. You can go through each color. You're looking for any kind of notes that make sense. If I select gray, they're all male. We can start writing down. Don't just write down that it's all males, but even put the numbers. 3 males chose gray, 0 females. All the information will go into the report later on. The harder one to look through is the one where you can check more than one answer. So here I've got a question. What factors are important when purchasing sunglasses? I've got 3 that I've given them and an other specify. Now, a few people have typed something in, but for the most part, people have left this blank. So what I've got here is instead of doing an average, because the average will come back as a 1, I've done a different formula. Click on the formula button, count numbers. And what it's going to do, and I'm going to make sure I highlight the whole row, it's going to count how many people have actually put that down as an important factor. 12. I can copy this over or redo it. You just grab the box in the bottom and slide it over. So what this tells me right away is in the survey, price is the most important thing, followed by brand and then style. Let's take a look at females. I'll take out the males. And the count, as I can see at the bottom, is 5 for this particular group, for females, versus 12 overall. The useful thing for these kind of questions is to calculate the percent. Now I've got 17 people who answered, 12 have chosen price. So I'm going to create my own formula. I start with an equal sign. I'm going to click on the 12 to say whatever number's there, take it, slash to divide by 17. 17 respondents in the survey. Now it says 1 because it's rounding. I'm going to go to the top of my page and increase my decimal. It's now 71% have chosen price as an important factor. I can grab the corner, drag it across, and this will help me compare later on when I filter. So your job now is to go through this. Go through it in any way that you can. Write down notes, write down numbers, percents, whatever you can come up with that's going to help you support your report at the end of this project. Make sure you filter by different groups, and you don't have to do everything, but look for important trends. A quick recap, remember that you can do averages for anything with numbers. Click on the formula, the sigma, and click on average. If you want to do a count, pretty much the same thing. Click on the little arrow, count numbers. Percentages, you just have to divide. This you have to create yourself. Again, one more time, start with an equal sign. Click on the cell that you want to divide, slash to divide, and then the total number of surveys in the thing. Remember, if you need to change the decimal place, click on the little blue arrow up in the top of the screen.